The summer sun was shining brightly over the stone streets of Athens. As people hurried about their daily tasks, 17-year-old Theron quickened his steps towards the city's oldest library. His fascination with history and mythology set him apart from his peers. While his friends spent time outside, Theron chased after ancient texts and sought the truth behind old legends. Upon reaching the library, he entered and shut the heavy wooden door behind him. The silence intensified the library's mystical atmosphere. Wandering among the dusty shelves, Theron made his way to his usual corner, where the oldest books were kept. These volumes were like silent guardians, holding the stories of millennia. Today, however, something was different. Among the shelves, Theron came across an ancient manuscript that stood out from the rest. The cover, made of weathered leather, bore the marks of time. Theron carefully opened the manuscript, and his eyes widened in disbelief. This was unlike anything he had seen before. The pages did not speak of the familiar tales of ancient Greek gods. Instead, they implied that these gods were once an extraterrestrial race that had visited Earth. The texts described how the gods descended to Earth with celestial lights and bestowed great technologies upon humans. Yet, it was also clearly stated that these visitors had used their technology to control humanity. As Theron read the manuscript with astonishment, he realized that the information was too detailed to be mere myth. Star maps, descriptions of technological devices, and symbols revealing the gods' true identities indicated that the manuscript harbored an incredible mystery. It seemed poised to unveil a dark secret about humanity's past. Could this be real? Theron whispered, unable to tear his eyes from the text. His heart raced, and his breath quickened. Part of him wanted to disbelieve, yet his curiosity drove him to unravel these secrets. Just then, the library's door opened, and Theron's closest friend Calliope entered. Known for her interest in science and technology, she had made it a habit to share every intriguing discovery with Theron. "Theron, take a look at this," she said, holding up an interesting device. Theron turned to Calliope and handed her the manuscript. "I found this," he said excitedly. "It claims that the ancient Greek gods were actually aliens. And moreover, it says they're going to return soon." Calliope took the manuscript and examined it carefully. After a few moments of silence, she looked up at Theron. "This is incredible, but also frightening," she said. Theron nodded in agreement. "I know if this information is true, our world might be facing a great danger." As the two continued to study the manuscript, they lost track of time. Outside, darkness fell, while inside the library, a tense silence prevailed. Theron and Calliope were determined to find a way to solve this mystery and avert the looming threat. "This is just the beginning," Theron said with resolve. "We must uncover the truth. Otherwise, humanity will once again be trapped in the shadow of the gods." Seeing the seriousness in Theron's eyes, Calliope nodded. "Together, we'll solve this mystery," she said. And so, these young seekers of ancient secrets and technologies embarked on an adventure that would rewrite the history of humanity. Yet, before them lay powers and dangers beyond their imagination. But no matter what, Theron and Calliope were determined not to give up. After their research at the library, Theron and Calliope decided to investigate the authenticity of the manuscript they had found. By examining the symbols and star maps mentioned in the manuscript, they had pinpointed the location of an ancient temple. The manuscript had claimed that the temple harbored mysterious and dangerous secrets, which only fueled their curiosity further. As night fell, Theron and Calliope ventured into the depths of a nearly forgotten forest outside Athens. To locate the temple precisely, they relied on the star map and the ancient manuscript. As they moved deeper into the forest, the shadows cast by the surrounding trees grew thicker, and the silence became increasingly unsettling. "I don't want to turn back now that we're this deep," Theron said with a determined tone. While Calliope admired Theron's bravery, she was inwardly anxious. "You're right, but we need to be careful. This isn't just a forest, it's a place where dark secrets related to the gods might be hidden," she replied. After a long trek, they came across an ancient structure covered in moss. The temple appeared to have been unvisited for centuries. Theron felt his heart race as he noticed the ancient symbols carved into the temple's walls. These symbols matched those from the manuscript he had found in the library. "This is the place," Theron said, fixing his eyes on the entrance of the temple. "This might be where the gods descended to Earth and bestowed their technologies upon humanity." Calliope took out her device and began measuring the energy field around the temple. The device detected an unusual energy emission. "There's something abnormal here," she said, her eyes on the device's screen. "This temple might hold more secrets than we anticipated." Taking Calliope's warning seriously, Theron attempted to open the temple's door. However, the door appeared solid from the outside. After several attempts, Theron noticed a symbol glowing prominently on the door. It was a deity symbol mentioned in the manuscript. When Theron lightly touched the symbol, the door slowly began to open. As it did, a wave of intense cold air swept out from the temple. Upon entering, they were greeted by a narrow and dark corridor. The walls were adorned with ancient bas-reliefs depicting the gods' power and their influence on humanity. Theron felt as if he were traveling through time as he touched these bas-reliefs. The gods and their technology seemed to come alive on these walls. At the end of the corridor, they emerged into a large hall. In the center of the hall, on a stone pedestal, was a glowing sphere. The energy fluctuations within the sphere suggested it was a piece of technology brought by the gods. Calliope carefully examined the sphere. "This is more complex than we thought," she said. "It seems like a power source. But understanding its purpose is difficult." As Theron circled the sphere, he sensed something was amiss. Suddenly, there was movement in the hall's walls. Stones began shifting, and the walls slowly started closing in. They found themselves in imminent danger. "This is a trap," Theron shouted. "We need to get out of here immediately." But the exit was blocked, and their only option was to disable the sphere. Calliope quickly took out her device and tried to figure out how to stop the sphere's energy. Their time was running out. As Theron helped Calliope, the walls continued to close in. Eventually, Calliope found a way to neutralize the sphere. By using her device to absorb the sphere's energy, she managed to halt the wall's closing motion. The hall returned to its former stillness, but Theron and Calliope realized how challenging the events they had faced were. "This is just the beginning," Calliope said, taking a deep breath. "Even thinking about what might be hidden in this temple is frightening." Theron was resolute in uncovering the temple's secrets. "No matter what, we must reveal this mystery," he said. "Because if the gods are really returning, we need to be prepared." Determined, the two continued to delve deeper into the temple in search of new clues. This time, they knew they were dealing with forces beyond the gods, time, and space itself. With every step, they faced more dangers and mysteries, but they were willing to risk everything to find the truth. As Theron and Calliope delved deeper into the temple, the air grew colder and the atmosphere increasingly ominous. Each new chamber they entered was filled with more complex symbols and writings related to the powers of the ancient Greek gods. The concept of time and space seemed to blur as they moved through the temple, as if they were trapped in a labyrinth. "Something is really wrong here," Theron said, examining the stone walls around them carefully. "This temple isn't an ordinary structure. It's trying to lead us somewhere, but where?" Calliope continuously scanned their surroundings with her device, trying to locate the source of the energy. "The energy fluctuations are increasing," she said. "Something seems to be drawing us here." At that moment, the doors to a vast hall ahead swung open. This hall was much larger and more magnificent than the others. The walls were adorned with bas-reliefs depicting the gods' powers over humanity. In the center of the hall stood a massive stone slab, upon which a glowing inscription was sealed by the gods. As Theron and Calliope approached the stone slab, the symbols on it began to glow on their own. This was a power sealed by the gods. Theron carefully touched the slab, and the symbols suddenly came to life. The air in the hall changed dramatically, as if the slab was releasing the power hidden within the depths of the temple. "These symbols, they might be a key to bringing the gods back," Theron said, his eyes fixed on the slab. "But we don't know how they work." Calliope examined the slab closely. "This is some kind of seal. But it says that only a god or a being from them can open this seal," she said. "If we open this seal, the gods might really return." Theron turned to Calliope and asked seriously, "But what if we don't? What if this temple traps us here?" Calliope shook her head thoughtfully. "If this seal is truly related to the gods' return, humanity could face a great danger," she said. "But if the seal remains closed, perhaps the gods may never return." Theron took a deep breath and touched the stone slab again. The symbols began to glow once more, and this time, the air around them filled with intense energy. The stone walls of the temple began to tremble as if the power wanted to be released. Theron considered how to activate the symbols. These symbols were not just a door, but also a test. Understanding the gods' power required intelligence and courage. Calliope started analyzing the symbols with her device. The symbols seemed to point to a kind of star map, she said. This could be evidence that the ancient Greek gods were truly extraterrestrial. If we can decode this map correctly, we might understand how and where the gods came to Earth. As Theron listened to Calliope, he recalled all the bas-reliefs they had seen in the temple. Each represented the powers the gods had granted or withheld from humanity. Activating these symbols in the correct order could reveal how the gods descended to Earth and what power they would use to return. Theron carefully examined the symbols on the slab and began touching them in a specific sequence. With each touch, the energy fluctuations in the temple grew stronger. Theron felt they were on the right path, but he also knew the dangers that lay ahead. When he touched the final symbol, a sudden burst of intense light filled the temple. Theron and Calliope were thrown back by the force of the light. The energy within the temple had now been released. A powerful vibration from the walls began shaking the entire structure. "What have we done?" Calliope whispered, looking around in shock. "Will this bring the gods back, or have we triggered another disaster?" Theron stood up and shook his head. "I don't know," he said. "But if the seal has been opened, there's no turning back now." At that moment, the stone door at the temple entrance swung open swiftly, and a familiar voice echoed inside. A figure emerged from the darkness. Although the figure's silhouette was humanoid, the power emanating from it signaled the presence of the gods. This being was none other than a messenger sent by the ancient gods to return to Earth. "Humans," the figure said in a deep, resonant voice. "You have opened the seal. You have prepared the way for the gods' return. But this path may be your end." As Theron and Calliope trembled before the figure, they realized that the return of the gods had truly begun. They were now on the brink of a battle that would affect not just their own fate, but all of humanity's. This was the beginning of a great conflict where ancient myths and modern science would collide, and where gods and humans would face each other in a monumental struggle. Theron, not taking his eyes off the figure, said, "We will win this battle. No matter what, humanity will not remain under the shadow of the gods." Calliope, standing by Theron's side, gathered her courage. "Together, we will see this fight through to the end," she said. Thus, the return of the gods and humanity's resistance had begun. It was a battle not only of powers but also of minds and hearts. Theron and Calliope have realized they are on the brink of the gods' return, but what is the true purpose of the mysterious figure before them, and what kind of battle awaits them? How will the return of the gods affect their lives and the fate of all humanity? Do you think Theron and Calliope will find a way to stop the gods' return or confront them? What kind of impact will the gods have on this new world? And will humanity truly emerge victorious in this great conflict? Curious about what happens next? To find out how this grand adventure and its monumental secrets unfold, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and leave your comments. Share your thoughts and predictions about what will happen in the continuation of the story. We can't wait to have you with us on this exciting journey. Your feedback is crucial, so support us by sharing your views. Subscribe, like, and comment.